Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start chopper. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Bristol Boss Baby 120, and this is a little present of mine. This is a little project of mine, and it is sponsored, of course, by. Well, I'm just gonna throw the sponsor graphic on here. It's me. I'm the sponsor. Welcome to the Bristol Boss Baby 120 here on the JP Broadcasting Network. My name is Bradley Dalton, and I'm going to be joined in the commentary booth by Mr. O'Leary, Mr. Ewan O'Leary himself. You got the Southern American who used to grow up on a dirt track with late models with his family, who's joined by the Englishman. It's a great setup, and I absolutely love this here on the JP Broadcasting Network. Ewan, good evening, sir. How are you?
Doing well, ready to be educated a little bit. I have obviously seen lots of dirt racing in the past, but I don't remember ever commentating on it. I may have done, but certainly looking forward to this one. It feels a little bit different to me because I know Bristol as a oval road track, if you want to call it. What's even the word for that? I don't even know. A tarmac oval course? Don't know. But this time we've got the dirt on there, and it's not only an education for me, based on what we've seen in practice so far. Everyone's having a bit of an education out there as they try and fight their way around for what's going to be 120 laps tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one, and let's give you a lay of the land here. Let's talk about how things look here. And of course, if triple bypass is not something you're familiar with, they got 5 nights of racing going on. Sunday's Gen 4s, and Gen 4s are absolute chaos to run. I ran Gen 4s with these guys Sunday night, just a couple nights ago. I don't know how I made it through, and somehow they found a way to screenshot one of the only clean laps that I ran to actually see all the pieces on my car. Tuesday nights, SRXs, the babies, the toys, the new cars here in iRacing. Wednesdays and Friday nights, road racing, and Thursday is Xfinity, the Crown Jewel Series. Now, let's run you through here the Season 5 scores. Jared Jackson with 128 points, currently sitting top of the standings here. Steve McClendon, second place with 122. Brad Cresson, third. Mike Weeda in fourth. Ben Harcum, Jason Benson, Matthew Parasini, Matthew Harmon, JC John Campbell, and Mark Herzog are your top 10 in the SRXs. Now, let's talk about Bristol. Let's talk about Dirt Bristol really quick. Here's the thing. NASCAR's actually ran this in real life, and I love it, because it's literally Bristol covered in dirt. And Bristol, as we all know, is a very challenging, unique, and fun short track. You turn around, you take that, you cover it in dirt, and it just makes things so much more fun. And then you take the SRX, which is probably the most versatile car that we have here in iRacing. It's one of the newest cars that we have, and actually it might be the newest. It just came out 2 months ago. And you combine that in, because this is a car that can run asphalt, road course, dirt track, you name it. And that's part of why I sponsored this race, because I thought it would be fun just to see these guys throw these cars around and try to survive here. And I've seen some names stick out that don't normally stick out to me for being fast. It's interesting. I'm not going to lie to you, and it's very, very interesting to see how the drivers handle the dirt.
Yeah, it is. We've seen a lot in practice about drivers getting up to speed, really, and giving us an idea a little bit about what we're going to see in the race, to be honest. think it's going to be a little bit about survival, to be honest with you, and just making it through the laps without getting involved in incidents. They will have 2 fast repairs this week instead of the usual 1 because of the chaos that we've seen, but it just seems that everyone's getting a little bit more used to the conditions. Here's John Campbell, the Australian, on board with him, getting used to the way you have to slide these cars through the turns. Earlier on, we were seeing people just spin around all over the place.
Yeah, whenever I jumped in the session, and I've been racing a lot the past week with these guys, but whenever I jumped in, I had the iRacing radio still on. Of course, we don't broadcast that for reasons that I don't need to really explain. But one of the drivers just flat out says, how are you going that fast? I don't know what's going on. I'm not going to say who that was that said that, but one of the names that you should probably know if you're a fan of Triple Bypass and have been for a while. Literally goes on and says, this is my first dirt race. I don't understand how you guys are so fast. And I'm purposely hiding the qualifying times right now because I purposely want to see where the times come in. So I see 2 identical times on the front row right now, which kind of tells me what's going to be coming up. David Feet here is the last driver on track as it sits. We've got a 20-car grid today that's going to be tackling Bristol. And, you know, the key to dirt racing is you've got to adapt and overcome as it goes. You're going to see all the different grooves come through. You're going to see all the different sort of setups hit, and you've just got to adapt and overcome and just survive is the name of the game. It is, I have no better way to phrase it than just survive. Yeah,
that very much seems to me to be what's going to be so key throughout the 120 laps, because it is going to, take a while. It's not an insignificant amount of time around here. It'll be over 60 miles of racing, and so everyone will have to get to grips with it in the changing conditions. No 2 laps are going to be the same, so be interesting to see. I have a feeling as well, we're, by the way, waiting for still 3 drivers to set times in this session, although they're just not doing it for their own. I reckon that's a bit of an indication as to tactics maybe throughout this race. Maybe those 3 have decided it's better for me to start at the back, to be honest, rather than in the middle where there could be some crashes.
You know, usually on race starts, we watch the front of the field. We're probably going to want to keep our eyes towards the mid-pack because with 20 cars, dirt tracks, a lot of newer dirt drivers here, you're going to have a bit of chaos early on. And cautions, while they are on, they are admin only if the track is blocked. So you're not going to see iRacing see a car spin and immediately throw a caution. They have rolled that back for this week. And I feel like that's just because admin know it's coming. They know how this is going to go. So the rule is it has to be 2 or more cars spun blocking the racing line. If you spin down onto the apron, rejoin at your own pace, and I'm sorry about it. It's a very good run. It's going to be a lot of action, a lot of excitement. I'm very, very, very ready to see how this race goes down. As we wait here, we've got about 60 seconds left in qualifying now, I believe.
Yeah. By the way, someone's saying in the YouTube chat or questioning how many cautions they're going to be, saying there's going to be at least 10. Well, the thing about that is that it's only admin thrown cautions here tonight, so it's not the usual iRacing system. If somebody spins down low on their own, we could probably take a guess there's not going to be a caution for it. So maybe that's even factored into their prediction of more than 10, to be fair. But I think the fact that we don't have iRacing cautions means that surely we're going to get a cleaner race and a greener race, more green flag running than we otherwise would have got if we'd had the iRacing caution coming out every lap or so.
I think there's going to be a couple of cautions early on just as drivers get their bearings, as everyone gets comfortable. I think probably single file restarts might come into play, and then if that happens, that's really where we'll see drivers stretch their legs and run. But I wouldn't be surprised to see at least 2, maybe 3, but I'm going to stick with 2.
I think it could be more than that, but it's definitely not going to be 10. I don't think, at least. Anyway, so that's a relief at least. But goodness me, hopefully we see a bit more green flag running than that, because we're very much looking forward to the race as we have a look at the qualifying results.
Yeah, qualifying results are in, and someone set their camera upside down. I don't know who did that or why, but it is Terry Brooks Jr., who, with a 17.983, has set the front of the field, with Mr. Matt Parasini in second, Ben Harcum in third, Steve McClendon, James Honeycutt, Jason Benson, Alex Goff, John Campbell, Mike Weida, David Feet, Chad Bear, Matt Harmon, Brad Kress, Naj Crutchley, Benito Chavez, Al Corey, Tyler Ruyelas, Thomas Hazlitt, Grant Parker, and Michael Seymour being your 20 to run. I had to run through that very, very quickly because we're going to get going very, very quickly here as we set up. And I'm just going to go ahead and warn you now. I don't know how this race start's going to go, but you might as well just be excited for it here. We'll get the timing tower up. We'll see how quickly things go. The key is smooth consistency. I will tell you that now. People think on dirt you've got to throw the car around. You don't. Be smooth, be consistent.
Yeah, stay out of trouble as well. That's what we've said a few times already, and the race hasn't even started yet. That just shows you how important it really is going to be. So I wonder how conservatively they are going to take it at the start here, because while survival is going to be the name of the game, the race isn't an awfully long way at 120 laps. So there is going to be a desire, especially for those in the second half of the field, to make their way through the order and start making some places. So be interesting to see how the drivers strike that balance between making places and staying out of trouble.
Yeah, it's something that they're going to navigate, and I have a feeling that this is going to be where we see those who know a little bit more about dirt really kind of show their skills here. But as we come around, green flags in the air, and we're going to be underway here with the Bristol Boss Baby 120. I sponsored it and I can't say it, but here we go. And around the outside, Matt Parasini gets the start going very quickly. You see some slides going on here in the middle, some cars getting up, getting going, and everybody for the most part is underway. I don't really see any big hits. And as I say that, the Pepto-Bismol car is in the wall there. That is going to be Mr. Alex Goff, who was up in the wall. He's trying to make that high cushion work, which can be the faster route if you've got the car to make it stick. And you can see him sliding around there, and he's trying to get away. He's trying to get away with it, and he sort of does, sort of doesn't. A little bit of damage there to the side, but no harm, no foul. And we are underway, and very quickly, 3 laps down.
Yeah, it's a very, very quick lap round here, less than 20 seconds per time as we've got contact, and 3 wide indeed as the guys battle for what's 5th position in the end. They're all diving for the space, trying to find wherever they can, and there was just a bit of a clash of heads there off of turn 2. The drivers tried to find their way through in the positions, but these guys are really costing each other time. It's about the front 4 who are running away. Parasini's still leading, but coming under pressure from Terry Brooks Jr., who he was pretty much level with. Just a thousandths of a second separated them in qualifying, and just about a similar amount of time separating them in the race too, as Brooks goes to the lead.
Yeah, Brooks with a very good move there, and now you see McClendon. These are the drivers that I can already tell have that dirt experience. You can see the slide job coming in, and we talk about the slide job, and you hear that every once in a while. Now, what is the slide job? The slide job is literally what you think it is. You're going to sling the car down low and slide up in front of the car ahead, and there's somebody off there on the side. That is Matt Harmon. We'll check out what happened to him here in just a moment, but I do want to keep my eye here on McClendon, who is putting pressure on Brooks, who is putting pressure on Ben, who is putting pressure with Matt Parasini. So the top 4 have started to space out a little bit, but watch Ben Harcum there. Ben Harcum trying to slide up the inside. He's going to try to set this up. This is good short track racing knowledge. You dive down the inside, you want to set that up, get it comfortable, and then get the car rotated around, and you can see he is going, he's side by side. Can he take that hot sauce SRX through? And it looks like he is going to be able to slide it up. Is there enough space? And there's another driver off. That is Tyler Ruyelas, who is spun there. Now, let's go back real quick now that the pass is through. Let's check out what happened real quick with Matt Harmon here on a quick replay. And this is going to be going through. It looks like he's side by side with someone. And we'll see here.
Yeah. It's with Mike Weida, who's currently running in 8th place. So I'm guessing this was for a higher position earlier. Oh, and there's 2 bits of contact. Harmon spins to the outside. Everybody avoids, though. Admin cautions, as I said earlier, are only really going to be called for real big pile-ups and track blockages. As we have a look at how Tyler Ruyelas found himself down to the inside. We saw that as we were watching the leading battle. Just a solo spin down on the apron.
Yeah, and some of this coming from, especially watching Tyler's wreck there, or Tyler's spin there, it's not really a wreck, is just drivers not as comfortable letting the car walk out a little bit. They're not as comfortable kind of walking that through. And traditionally, if you're used to oval racing, you're not going to want to do that. You're going to want to catch the car underneath you, or you're not going to really know how to catch it. You can see Alex Goff here up the inside. You see he's sliding a little bit in there, and now you've just got to let the car walk. You don't want to overdrive it. You don't want to jerk wheel corrections in. You just want to let it be nice and smooth, and that is what they're doing now. You can see the cushion is starting to really pack up on the high line, and the drivers, you'll see they're driving right against that right now. And that is going to be the area where some guys are going to find the most grip. Some guys are not going to want to be that high. As you see there, that is going to be Seymour, I believe, who dives down the inside a lap down. But this is a good three-way battle right here with Goff, with Benson, and then who else is that in the mix? There is some lap traffic and lap down traffic that is getting mixed in. The one other thing with Bristol being such a short track, you're going to have a lot of things mixed in, but we've already lost. It looks like 2 cars, Parker and Hazlitt, we lost, and then it looks like Rubiales we have in the pits.
Grant Parker and Thomas Hazlitt, by the way, didn't start the race, so they are listed as out, but they only really practiced, unfortunately. Didn't get in for the race. Rubiales coming in for a second time here. We've also seen Jason Benson in for one time around, so that was a 46-second stop for him, and that's why he's down 4 laps at the moment. But as you say, it's such a short lap, you're going to go down quite a few if you indeed come down into pit lane, and already only 11 on the lead lap. That's what we're seeing here from this race. It's like that even on the road oval side at Bristol. You get a lap down very, very easily indeed, and we're certainly going to see that a little bit later on, especially with the speed at the front of the race. Those guys at the front really do know what they're doing.
Yeah, well, if you look at the last lap times here, which I pulled up on the timing tower now, Brooks and Harcum are running 18.6s, and you've got the guys down with JC John Campbell, Al Corey, Naj Crutchley that are running almost 21-second laps. So there's a lot of spread through this field that we don't traditionally see, and it's really creating some issues. Look at Brooks here with the slide job up the inside of JC John Campbell. This is to put John Campbell a lap down, and then you're going to have, it looks like, Feet that is in the mix up ahead. So the two leads are battling here with lap down cars in the mix. Look at Feet trying to chop down, and Brooks has to catch it. This is action. A little bit of 3 wide for just a moment. You can see sliding down. Doesn't know the leaders there. A wall tap in the background. And just get out of the way of the leaders. Get the leaders through. And there we go. And Brooks is really lucky the lap traffic's there, because it is kind of holding Harcum off a little bit for him.
Yeah, when there's 2 cars already side by side ahead of you, Ben Harcum was off put from going for a move, but now that it's single file, he's going to the inside, sliding through 4, looking for a way in. He's really diving into the first part of the turns, but can't quite get alongside Brooks enough. He's really found some joy with that sort of middle line, right up towards the top of the lighter part of the dirt, if you can see that, through the middle of these corners, and Brooks just rock steady in there, and when he is there, he's seeming very difficult to pass indeed.
Listen, I gotta say it, if you've never watched dirt racing, this is what dirt racing produces, and I believe James is probably going to correct me if I'm wrong on this later, but this could be one of the first dirt races on the JP Broadcasting Network. I'm just saying it produces good action. It produces some good action, so keep your eyes on this, because there are more SRX dirt races through this season here at Triple ByPass. And look at this. This is some of the action you got to contend with. You've got a car in the middle, and you've got a lap fight there between Alex Goff and Honeycutt that are fighting, and they have to split the middle of the slower car. That is a way to run it. And man, let me tell you what, that is good action. These SRX cars look like a lot of fun on track, though. Yeah,
they certainly do. It sort of goes back to the level of racing you get at Bristol, whether there's dirt or not, to be fair. I mean, it's such a short lap that there's just ends up being cars absolutely everywhere. So many cars go 1 lap down, and it just means that there's so much traffic to contend with. There goes Goff straight into the side of the 48, and they all gather it up in time. That was Crutchley, I think, going a lap down to these guys, and they were once again quite lucky to get away with that.
That was indeed Crutchley, and it's amazing that Goff got that. Now he's right on the back. It seems like that actually sped his car up. And look at him. He's going to go up the inside of Honeycutt here. Can he make it stick? He's going to go for it here. He's got to complete it this turn. They're slide by side, sliding him up into the cushion.
Oh.
And a little bit loose the car gets, and he can't hold on to it. Now he's back down, and here we go. Down the back stretch into 3. Can he make the slide stick again? And again, he's trying, but he doesn't have... Excuse me, he doesn't have the grip to really make that stick in.
Yeah, not quite. And they both seem to come into contact, not because there wasn't any space on the road, but just because they both sort of wanted the same space on the road, which became a bit of a problem. Thankfully, they've sorted it out, though, at 4th, 6th place. Don't know who that was spun to the inside there, by the way, but that's going to be an awkward reverse job for whoever that was. Off of turn 2 as Terry Brooks makes his way through it all. He's coming up to lap 6th, 7th and 8th here in a couple of moments.
Yeah, he is putting in blistering laps. Last lap was an 18.9 and his best lap is an 18.3. So, I mean, he's nice and consistent. You can see Harkham trying to work the high line here, just trying to find something different. And this is the thing with dirt tracks, and iRacing does this very well. The track develops and evolves as the race goes. You'll see guys run up high in that cushion that I'm talking about. They're running high in that dark space, trying to make it stick. They're going to run low and try to just slide around. And look at Ben Harkham. He's having to get a little swirly there up in the cushion, and he thankfully holds on to it. Matt Harmon was our car that was off a minute ago as we watched Brooks Jr. here try to get the slide done on Benson. He's trying to get this lap traffic out of the way so that way he can put a little bit of a gap on Harkham. And while he does that, let's go ahead and check out what happened to Matt Harmon back here in the background. This was Matt Harmon running through. We saw him spun around a second ago, and I have a feeling this is just the back end let go. And it did, and
Ooh, ouch.
Got the tire barrier. Or not the tire, but the barrels.
Yes, oh dear, that's a mess on the outside. Look at that, as they all try and filter their way through. 4 wide for a brief moment there. Goodness me, they all get away with it. I think it's McClendon who's the lead lap driver out of all of that. That's Steve McClendon trying to find his way through a million lapped drivers. There will be a free pass, by the way, so whenever there's a caution, the first car 1 lap down will get the free pass back onto the lead lap, but even so, there's very few drivers on the lead lap, even now. So it's really already whittled down to a race between very few drivers in contention for the win.
Yeah, and here's the thing, too. These guys are going to be wanting a caution. Not even necessarily for the lead lap. They just want to get the time to sort of breathe. The thing with Bristol is Bristol does not stop. Once you start, it does not stop. It is going to just keep going and keep going and keep going. You are constantly in a turn, especially when you factor in the dirt track aspect of this, where you're always sliding. You've always got to catch the car. You've always got to know what your car is doing. You are just adding a mix into this that is just not accounted for sometimes. So 120 laps, it's not that long of a race at Bristol, but these guys probably feel like it's an eternity here. So we got Ben Harkham, who is trying to get past Alex Goff there in the background. The bright pink Pepto-Bismol car. I love that livery. I love that setup, and I like that it is that easy to identify. But now, Ben Harkham trying to get the charge done here on Brooks. He's going up the high side. He loves the high line and the cushion there. There's Chad Bear down on the bottom, and he is just trying to stay out of the way. He wants no part in messing up this battle for the leaders.
He's really trying to use that line right next to the wall now, Harkham. It's the first time we've really seen anybody try it so far. He's not quite diving up there right from the start of the corner, but especially midway through he's up there, and Brooks Jr. makes a mistake, allowing Harkham to have a chance here. There's a bit of lap traffic involved, but Ben Harkham doesn't need it. He's getting so much joy next to the wall, and he gets the lead after 39 laps.
Yeah, that is that patience and consistency that we talk about, that you've just got to be nice and smooth and relaxed and collected, and he did a very good job of doing that and just keeping it together. So now Ben Harkham up there in the lead, crossing lap 40 of 120, a third of the way through this race. And look at the groove that Terry Brooks is running. You can see he's running that slightly different line on the bottom there on the middle of the track, and you can see where it looks wet there in the middle. That is that line that he's running, and that is that line that's getting worn out. It's actually going to be kind of losing grip a bit, losing slide a bit, and I think that's where he's starting to lose pace. He's not adapting, but now watch. As soon as I say that, he's going to start running that high cushion following Harcum. But slowly, that high cushion is going to wear itself out too. And then you're going to start seeing Ben Harcum have to adjust driving style and start to look around for grip in other places. So that's the unique nature with these dirt tracks, is that you've got to account for that. And Brooks with a beautiful example of a slide drop there on Mr. JC John Campbell to 2 laps down in 10th place. And now he's just trying to put in pace. Only 4 cars on the lead lap as it sits. Parasini, McClendon, Brooks, and Harcum.
Oh, someone finding the wall indeed in the background. So, off of turn 4 there. Yeah, it definitely seems that Brooks, ever since that middle line has gone away, and it's sort of become like, it seems like they're trying to drive through quicksand when they're going through the middle line now. He's not really adapted, as he's saying. He's really become unstuck as a result of that. Harcum, I think, has just been begging for the top line to come in all race so far, because he seemed to be pretty eager to go up there right from the very start, but it wasn't really working earlier on. He had to be patient, but now that it's really started to come in, he's motoring and he has the lead of the race. This is side by side for 12th place, I believe. It is indeed Alcori and John Crutchley, who battled side by side, 2 laps down and not far away from going 3 down.
Yeah, Ben Harcum right there in the background of these two. And you can see that at this point, Ben Harcum is just trying to carve through traffic, wants to build a gap, wants to stay comfortable. And Ben Harcum is really getting into a pace that is very, very much his own here as we cross lap 46. And up the inside he goes there on Alcori. That is a beautiful example of how to make that inside line work. And it's going to slide it back up down the main straight. Look at Brooks in the background, very aggressive, trying to get a slide there. Terry Brooks Jr. going through now in contact with Alcori. Sends Alcori into Naj. Is this going to be our first caution? And no, all 3 of them keep going, but that is going to hinder Brooks immensely. And now look at that in the background. That is going to be the Jim Beam car. That is going to be, I believe, Chad Bear moving his way through in the mix. So Alcori with a bit of an error there, drops back, takes Brooks with him. Brooks is now 3.5 seconds off of Ben Harcum.
Yep, he's hoping for a caution to close back in again here. No charge changes today, but there are faster pairs if you need them, and Alcori certainly does, by the looks of that, as he makes his way down pit lane for the moment. So, a bit of contact so far, but no crack blockage. And they all kept facing the right direction there, and so we stay green. Nearly a half-century lapse into this race now, fast approaching the halfway mark in this one already. And it's flying on by. It's been a good race so far. Still a long way to go, and surely we're not going to get away without a caution over the course of the day.
It wouldn't be the first time we've seen Triple Bypass get away without a caution. However, I don't discount anything from anyone, because it is very, very likely that anything happens. That is the one thing I can tell you, is it's possible for anything to go wrong at any time, because we've hit that 50 mark, and now the next big mark is 60. That's going to be where we check off halfway. But these guys are going to be really, really wearing in. The pace is really wearing thin. Everyone's just kind of trying to survive here. As we watch Brad Press running through with JC John Campbell in front, who is actually a lap up on him, but has the number, has Naj Crutchley not too far behind. That's the 151 just behind him there of Steve McClendon. And Brad Press up into the wall.
Can't get out the wall. He's stuck on the wall. A Cress there. He might want to come down the lane or so. And there we go. Just give himself a bit of breathing room. It does seem to me, though, that the middle of the track is just a void of somewhere you don't want to be, really. And people are searching either right up next to the wall for a bit of grip, or right down, almost driving around the apron on occasion, trying to find. And even that strip on the apron now, next to the apron, is getting very, very thin as well. So it's becoming pretty precarious where you actually run, and we're not even halfway through the race yet.
Yeah, and that's the big thing with just constant green flag laps, is that the drivers they're learning this on the fly. And one of the things to be comfortable with in dirt racing is that the line you're running on lap 1 is not the same line you're going to be running on even lap 5. The line they're running lap 56 now, they may not be able to keep that line up come lap 75. They're going to need to be comfortable searching a little bit. And you can see, especially if we zoom in real close here, look, you can see the difference in color there. That is where the track is really slickening up in the middle, and that is gonna slickening. It's not proper English, but it's dirt track English. But that is where the track is getting very slick. That's where all of those cars have been running, and that's where things are going through. And oh, that is Honeycutt getting very loose up into the wall there in his American flag Dodge SRX. And now he is having to try to settle it back in. You can see the scuffs on the right-hand side. You see there Parasini getting a little loose. No Parasini pirouettes today, but he was thinking about it for just a moment. We do have a battle up here. It looks like Mike Weida and David Felt, who are trying to chase each other down. They've got Naj just ahead for company.
Yeah, so plenty of battles going on the circuit, even if none of those on the lead lap are even anywhere near each other and fighting it out. Even the gap between first and second is at 9 seconds now, but there is still plenty going on through 3 and 4 for this battle for 8th place. These guys now 2 laps down. It goes to the inside, but an increasingly slippery low line is going to give him pretty much no joy, although Weeda seemingly not that much joy on the very outside either. There's becoming quite a narrow window up there too.
Yeah, and that's going to be the thing to watch with that cushion. You're going to see they're putting that right rear tire right against where you can really see the buffer of dirt, but you've got to be gentle with it. A little too far in the cushion, and it's going to just suck you right up in the wall. If you're a little too far down, then your front tire is on that slick area that we were talking about. So it's a big, big balancing act, but it does seem like for the moment, these two have kind of separated out a little bit, but it is going to give us a little bit more to kind of watch and, you know, keep our eyes on it as we try to keep up. Let's pull up the track map here in the top right, and you can see just how spread out the field is, even though it is several numbers of laps that are different here. You know, you can see like Matt Parasini here is trying to go up the inside of JC John Campbell. This is not a battle for position. This is just Parasini saying, I'm a little bit faster. I'm trying to go through. And who is that behind both of these guys? That's Ben Harkham. Ben Harkham is about to put Parasini a lap down, and it will be only Harkham, Brooks, and McClendon on the lead lap, and yellow flag is now thrown, as it looks like a big wreck just happened.
That's white. Well, there was someone right in the middle of the road there, and that's McClendon. Is he on the lead lap? So let's have a look here. First of all, it's just a power too early and stuck in smashed into by the 00, and then in the middle of the road. So the caution needed before anybody else crashes into him.
Yeah, and riding on board here with Alex Goff, it really shows you the difference of the track. And look at him, he's just sliding through. He's trying to hold the car. He's got that wheel all the way to the right.
No chance.
Nothing he could do to avoid that because the car was hooked over. It was committed. I mean, you get what you get there. So yellow flag thrown, and this will be our first caution, lap 65 of 120.
Yeah. Trying to work out whether Parasini's still in the lead lap or not. Is he just catching these guys, is he? Yes, he is on the lead lap, so he's just catching them. So McClendon's lost the lead lap as a result of that crash. So who gets the free pass would be my question in that situation.
That is a good question.
Is it Bear?
We'll find out here in just a moment. We'll keep our eyes on Chad Bear and see. It looks like Chad Bear has been the one with the free pass, and it looks like we had a crash under caution here. Let's see if we can catch up and see exactly what happened here. We'll go as it goes through, because I've got to register 4 cars crashing together, and is this just a checkup under caution, and they didn't crash, they just had to come to a complete standstill.
Yeah. The stack up is quite bad off the corners. Now Chad Bear will go I'm not sure where he's going to be able to get to in the queue here. So based on what you said earlier, it's going to be a single file restart, which means it could be quite a long way back for Chad Bear, as in he could have almost the entire field ahead of him here.
Yeah, and we'll see if it's single file or double file restarts here momentarily as we come around, and you can see several drivers in the pits. Parasini, Chad Bear, who just got the wave around, is into the pits as well, so we'll see what happens. But this is going to be interesting for Harkham as he sits, because he's got Brooks 7 seconds behind. So to show you what 7 seconds look like under a pace lap, there's Harkham, there is Brooks, and you can see the sea of cars in the middle.
So, well, this is my inexperience with dirt becoming very clear. Do they just leave them how they are and then send them green, or do they put the lap cars to the front? I'm guessing I'm getting my answer right now.
I was going to say, it really depends on kind of where the situation is, who's got to wave around. Sometimes it could take them a couple of laps to sort out, but it does look like at the moment they are going to bring them back around into leader order and settle them in. So it does look like it'll be 1, 2, 3, and 4 starting 1, 2, 3, and 4 from what I can tell here. As you can see, Chad Bear back in the tail end of the line, and then Matt Parasini right there is in the middle. You can see him there on the high line with Mr. JC John Campbell low, and now he's taken through.
Too wide.
Yep, so we'll have a double file restart, which I do like. So we'll keep our eyes on what happens. Chad Bear is starting from the very back, but it does look like the lights are off on the pace truck, so we should get started as soon as they come around turn 4.
51 to go when we see the pace truck pull in. Chad Bear with an awful lot of work to do, but at least he's on the lead lap, which is more than can be said for everyone but the front 4 who will restart this race on the lead lap.
Yep, and green through, and you see we're away, and it looks like a bit of a wiggle very quickly from Brooks there as he gets going, and Parasini there in 3rd place. Trying to work the low line is Matt Parasini. Wants to do something different, needs to make something work, and now is going to go up to the high line in 3 and 4 on the cushion. Try to make the high line work. There's the Hooters car in the wall. That is... I'm not sure who the Hooters car is off the top of my head. I should know that. But that is not going to be where you want to be. I believe that might have been... not sure who that was. So we'll figure it out here as they're in front. Honeycutt trying to go low, work that line up on the high line. More wall contact there. And that was... I believe Mike Wida who hit the wall there in the number 6.
Yeah, it was. And it's a recurring theme actually on this restart, as everyone's trying to get up high and search for the grip up there, because the middle line's just and even right on the bottom is just not where you want to be. It's a very fine line now. Wida again in the wall through 3 and 4 that time. Look at this though, the 91 of Chad Bear having a real job on his hands to get through. Did go a lap down in that first run of the race, but he's been given the free pass and he's getting back in contention here, or at least trying to. Still so much traffic though for him to work through.
Yeah, he's doing a good job of trying to make that low line work, just trying to consistently slide through and stay low. The Hooters car gets loose and hits Chad Bear. Chad Bear goes low. He avoids going into the pits, but he is there, and that Hooters car is the number 9 of Brad Kress. I now have my answer. But you can see Chad Bear benefiting through. There's somebody spun around low there. I believe that is actually Terry Brooks.
Oh no! Big contact.
The yellow flag is out.
Caution, no surprise for that. We'll have a look at what's happened here, because Terry Brooks has been off and these guys have been off as well, in sympathy almost. Benito Chavez comes up into Kress, and it's a big crash on the front straight. Oh dear, look at that. Someone's on the wall.
Al Corey up on the wall. Now there's a screenshot.
Not seen that for ages.
There's a thumbnail for you. So let's look at what started all of this really quick. So this is going to be going off of, as the timing software breaks a little bit. So this is going to be David Feet, who is running down low. It registers a crash for him. And there's that bump. Ooh. He goes into the wall. He's low. And then from there, you see he's stopped. But he is fine. I don't think that has to do. This is going to be the Brooks incident that kind of kicked all this off here. And this is Brooks going into 3, slides. Car gets a little wide because he's running that middle line, and he just sits still there and holds it. He's holding the brakes. He backs up, little tap of the wall. He's trying to hold the brakes. Hold on. And as he does that, that is where Benito comes through, gets the tap there, and sends it through. And then Al Corey, I mean, standing ovation.
That's a quite hilarious crash. The fact he's ended up stuck on the wall there. Well, not hilarious for him, of course, but there you go. The first big pilot we've seen today, really. The previous one was just a 2-car incident and was quite a big hit, of course, but it wasn't, it wasn't a big pile-up like that one. I think what we just saw, though, for Terry Brooks Jr., he's still on the lead up, by the way, it's a bit concerning, to be honest, because we've seen so far today him have good speed at the start. He was using the middle line very well, and he was leading for about 40 laps at the start. But for these middle 40 laps of the race, he's been struggling because the middle line's gone away, and it seems that he's not really been able to adapt to his first line of the race going away from him, and ever since then he's been struggling a little bit. So I just wonder where he's going to go from here, in a sense of, is he going to move somewhere now and find a bit of speed somehow? Because so far, ever since that middle line has gone sort of black, as you can see on that camera shot there, grey black kind of shade of colour, he's struggled to move around lines ever since then.
Yeah, and really the big thing I'm trying to show with these cameras here in the corners is just the amount of dirt that is wore off, especially in turn 1 and turn 3. I mean, look at that. You are basically looking at the Bristol asphalt at this point. So the drivers have to get a bit creative as it goes, and that's where they really need to be adventuring to the high line here, up on the left-hand side of your screen near the timing tower. Right there where you see McClendon just drove by, that is really where the drivers are going to have their pace to go. So, but the thing is, that takes a little bit more, I don't want to say skill, but it takes a little bit more gumption, a little bit more presto to really pull off and be willing to hold right on the edge of the wall the entire time.
Yeah, it's I know as we've seen many times so far, and as I'm sure we're going to see in this restart too, you can get yourself full stuck to the wall on the outside and find yourself going backwards very quickly. So let's see what happens on this second restart.
That restart coming through, the pace truck is in, and we are underway very quickly. Ben Harcum wasting no time there. You see that is going to be Parasini very quickly in the wall, and Brooks in 4th place is going to be looking to make a slide up the inside. You've got Goff that is just behind there. Now, of course, Goff is a lap down in the mix, but he is trying to get some laps back. 2 laps down, actually. See a little bit further back, and here we go. This is going to be Mr. Brooks Jr. Look at Goff getting swirly in the background. Jump back there, because that is a big stack-up concertina effect that goes on as you have JC John Campbell checks up. Everybody in this mid-pack checking up there due to that, but up in the front, it is going to be Brooks who is set on the charge. Parasini running the high line there. Brooks trying to get the slide job done down low, sends it high into 3. You see he's still holding a little bit of that line, and I really figured he would have ventured a little bit higher, because you see that really the slide of the car dies 3/4 of the way through the corner when they're there, and now you see he's copying Parasini up high and trying to just make something stick. These top 4 are going to be all over each other as this race continues.
They are. Bear is getting some real joy in this most recent restart. Ben Harcum under the most pressure he has been under since he took the lead away from Brooks Jr. earlier on in the day, about 40 laps ago now indeed. He's been leading this race for quite some time as Harcum, but he's coming under pressure from Chad Bear, who at one stage had to get the free pass back onto the lead lap. From going a lap down to going for the lead, Chad Bear. He's looking at a possible first position tonight, as we're still waiting for the traffic to come back for these guys. It's quite nice on the restart, actually, for these guys to have a little bit of clear track. In fairness, we do have a quarter of the field now either down on pit lane or out of the race, so it does feel a little bit less busy than it did at the start.
Yeah, that is the one good thing of the restarts, is it's a little bit of breathing room, but it does throw off the rhythm, and you can see, especially for Brooks, his rhythm is really off here at the moment as he goes through. Chad Bear, Ben Harcum very, very wide there on the high line, and Chad Bear slides up the inside. Now, can he make this stick? Ben Harcum, can you respond, is the question of the day as we slide out of 4 down the main straight. That is going to be the answer at the moment, is no. Ben Harcum is behind Chad Bear, so new leader as it's...
Oh, he's gone!
Oh, no! Chad Bear slides it around into the barrels at the pit entrance, and that is, I believe, his race over as the entire field goes by. He's sitting there. His car is very significantly damaged. No front bumper. Can he get it going? He's slowly trying to run around, and here comes the leader. Here comes Ben Harcum. Is he going to go to a lap down in just that little bit of time? He is a lap down. He will have to take the pits for a pass repair, I believe.
Yeah, I think he'll have to take a fast repair. He's not up to speed at all. He's running around the bottom, getting down to pit lane in time, but What a change of fortunes from the lead to a lap down for Chad Bear as he tried to take it away. He was actually getting some good runs on the low side, despite all of what we've talked about, the fact that it's not been such a good line for the last 40, 50 laps or so. He was actually getting some joy down there, and he did get the lead up there, or down there I should say, with Ben Harkham running this line right up near the top. Well, it clearly was running on borrowed time, because as he was getting the power down, he just went for a spin sort of off the corner. It was loose off, oversteer if you like, and he's gone around. He was back to pit lane, and I'm afraid he won't even be the first car one lap down anymore. I wouldn't have thought. Goff may well take that position, although 5th place is still 2 laps down.
Yeah, lots of drivers down laps. We might only get 3 drivers on the lead lap. We'll see how this goes. Look at this. James Honeycutt up the inside of Mike Weida. Mike Weida getting held up in the fence. They're not able to get the car off the fence. And very, very good job done there from Honeycutt to slide through behind. You've got JC John Campbell, Naj Crutchley. They are a bit further back. And then from there, Al Corey, Matt Harmon, Tyler Rielis. You've got David Felt and Michael Seymour are out, along with Cress, Hazlitt, and Parker. And I'll tell you what, this has been exciting through. We're at 95 of 120 coming up, so we are not that far off the end of this race as it sits. And look at this. This is your leader, Ben Harkham, trying to get past Benson, trying to get past Al Corey, and trying to just work through the lap traffic as much as possible and slide through. Oh, Al Corey slides low.
Oh dear, and the for 2nd place is going to be interrupted even more by this. Ben Harkham's got through quite well, although he's scraping along the wall again. He's gotten through this lap traffic very well indeed. But those behind, Pericini and Brooks, were really caught up. It was too wide behind Harkham, and when there's 2 cars already alongside one another, it's very difficult to make it 3 based on the experience of the previous moments in this race. And that even based on when all the lines were really available to these drivers. It's certainly not the case anymore, and that has really created the gap. Terry Brooks now feeding that phenomenon at the moment as Pericini makes his way through. Brooks now follows with a bit of chasing to do. How about half a second back?
Yeah, and Brooks is just trying to find the pace, be consistent here. And you can see he is gaining the time slowly but surely. Gap now down to 0.3 as it goes. But as they slide into 1 and 2, can he continue that push, that momentum? And it looks like the exit off of 2. Pericini is there with a little bit more pace. Now watch Brooks. Brooks is going to drop it low. Pericini's trying to hold it high. Pericini, the car doesn't want to comply on the high line, and Brooks is going to slide it through. Side by side, they're going to come down the main straight. And as they go down into 1 and 2, it is going to be Brooks lower, Pericini to the high line. Again, not able to make it stick. And now Brooks is back a little bit. He needs to try to send the car a little bit more to go through. Here we go through 3 and 4. And now, can Brooks get ahead? Side by side, they come. Pericini a little loose. Almost a little bit of door banging as they go down. And now Pericini up 1 and 2 on the high line, trying to hold on to it. Brooks, again, the low line, not able to capitalize on 1 and 2, but he's really looking good in 3 and 4.
Yeah, looking fantastic. It's a good battle between these two. They're losing and costing each other time to Ben Harkham, who's looking really good for a race win right now, by the way, for the driver currently 5th in the standings. But it's about the battle for 2nd place, and look at the gap there. Pericini squeezing through on Crutchley, I think it is. In 10th place, it is indeed. Brooks can't quite follow. He grabs the wall through 3 and 4 and has some catching to do again.
Man, Brooks was so on pace there, and then he had it set up. But now watch, he's not going to take long to catch back up to Pericini. As Pericini goes, he's going to continue to just slowly push ahead. And there's Harmon in the mix, and there we go. Brooks trying to make the move stick through. Can he follow him around? He is going to try to follow him around low, and you can see Pericini there high. Look at the wheel grab there. He's trying to figure out where to go. He's got to slide it back in through the back, and now there we go. Up the inside he goes. Brooks on Pericini. Can he make it stick? There's a car backwards on the cushion, and he's got to watch for that. Side by side go Pericini and Brooks down through turns 1 and 2. Brooks, can he get the slide job done? The rear end does not want to comply, and 17 to go. It's still side by side for 2nd place.
He's trying to hook his front left, Brooks, right down below almost the very slick line through the middle. So as opposed to moving further and further up top, which is becoming increasingly difficult to do now, Brooks is trying to hook his front left onto the better portion of the track, and he's now got it because he slides in front of Pericini, and he's got the pass for second made.
He's got it made, but can he hold on to it there? You see the car is a little bit swirly. It looks like he's fighting to hold on to the car a little bit here as the track is really not giving grip, and we're going into 15 to go. This is the survival point that we talked about up at the top of the broadcast, that it's really going to be a case of just survive a little bit and make your way through, and it looks like he's doing a good job so far. We'll keep our eye on it to see what happens, but as those two battled lap after lap after lap after lap, it's opened up 2.5 seconds to our race leader, Ben Harcum, who has just said, you know what, thank you, I'm going to continue to lap the field, as he comes up on the back of Corey here in P12, 9 laps down, soon to be 10.
Yeah, this is a remarkable race, given how many laps down some of these drivers are going, but we suspected this at the start of the day. There is a real gulf in the field in terms of those like Ben Harcum, who has got this car absolutely hooked up round here, and those who really don't. It's been a maybe cleaner race than we were expecting, to be honest. There's been a lot of good racing. There's been a lack of cautions as well, which we're absolutely here for. And there's been a dominant display so far. I don't want to say dominant winner because there's still 11 to go at the line, but Ben Harcum has got a great chance to take his first win of the season here.
Yeah, Ben Harcum looks very, very cool, calm, and collected as it goes. And can you really blame him here? I mean, he's figured out that groove. He's found that track and that setup that can really hold on. And I'm going to be curious to talk to him after the race and see just how much experience he has. He's had little wall taps here and there, but he's been able to keep the car under control, keep things moving. And as we hit 10 to go, officially, he is just, cruising his way through. You can see he's not afraid to work the car on the high line, and he's doing a very, very good job of it as it sits. We're going to jump back here for a second with Matt Harmon. Matt Harmon is trying to chase down that number 23 of Chavez. They're both 11 laps down, but hey, if you can finish P12 instead of P13, you're going to be going for it, as they've got the number 91 of Chad Bear up the inside for company, who's going to make his way through, and you can see going through. Chad Bear is, of course, in 5th place. He is the first car any laps down, and it's 2 laps down as it sits. And now you've got Matt Harmon, who is just trying to get a pass done, has the 151 behind him, McClendon, and he's trying to not hold up McClendon up the inside, and that actually just lets that battle go as it was.
Yeah, Matt Harmon, the final running driver in the field, although there's 3 pitters. I'm not sure whether they're coming back out again or not. But, there's 3 drivers who I don't think are out of the race, but are just on pit lane. They may not return though, because we are in the final 10 laps now. The attrition rate has seen about a third of these drivers unfortunately retire, but that's to be expected. It was always going to be a difficult race here on the dirt. So difficult to even drive around here on your own, never mind taking 20 of them bearing down into turn 1 for the first time. It's been a slight miracle that we've had such a clean race that we've had. Only a couple of crashes, only one pilot we can call it, going into these final 5 laps. I think that's a success for the field as a whole.
Yeah, and when you think about it too, we're going to ride with the gyro cam here with Pericini, and Pericini gets number 6 of Weta there. So, that's bad timing all the way around. So I was going to say, as we ride on board, just look at how difficult this track is. Everyone is very familiar with Bristol because it's considered a staple in NASCAR. It's the iconic short track. It's the Great Coliseum. And we've just thrown dirt on it, taken SRXs that are 800 horsepower cars, and said, here you go, send it around, and good luck. To a lot of guys that, for dirt not being their primary focus for these cars, for this league, they've done a very, very good job of impressively holding it together all the way around. So you've got to give credit where credit is due to all the drivers. The fact that we're 3 to go now, and they've only had 2 cautions so far on the day, you got to give credit, because it's a very impressive showing from these guys. It shows how multifaceted Triple ByPass is with their drivers.
and you have to be in this league because there's so much in terms of road course racing now. There's more than ever. There's lots of over racing, of course, but dirt racing as well now to go and factor in, as John Campbell uses the wall there to help himself around. You have to be so multi-talented to run well in this series, and it's a testament to all of them that they've been able to get through these 120 laps in such short order. As Ben Harcombe starts the very final of the laps, he drifts right up towards the wall. That's not a good turn 1 and 2, but he should still have enough for win.
Yeah, Ben Harcombe with a 2.5 lead here. All he's got to do is come around. Checkered flag will be waving for Ben Harcombe. And as he crosses the line, it is going to be Ben Harcombe who wins the Bristol Boss Baby 120. Very, very good run. Terry Brooks brings it in second. It is Parasini in third. Steve McClendon will cross the line for fourth place here. And then from there, it is going to be many cars that are many multiples of laps down. But for Ben Harcombe, an up, down, all the way around race. But in the end, all you had to do was find the win, and you could see that that is a big deal. And I tell you what, donuts are a lot easier on a dirt track.
Yes, I think that's noticeable. And when you've got this amount of horsepower as well, by the way, it does make it a damn sight easier. Ben Harcombe enjoying the victory, and why not as well. But everybody should be very pleased with their race here tonight, I would say. Based on the entertainment factor, we've had a lot of fun watching them, and hopefully they've had a lot of fun driving it, because it was a clean race for the most part. Lots of drivers getting to the end, lots of great racing to be had as well, but nobody could beat Ben Harcombe or even get anywhere near him at the end there.
And now you've got Ben Harcombe doing that reverse victory lap, and as he does that, let us bring up the official results for the race today. So as it stands and as it was, Ben Harcombe first place here, Terry Brooks Jr. in second, Matt Parasini in third, Steve McClendon in fourth, Chad Bear, Mike Weida, James Honeycutt, John Campbell, JC John Campbell. I need to send him my Krispy Kreme receipts. I keep forgetting. And then Mr. Naj Crutchley in ninth place with Jason Benson there and P10. Al Corey recovered up to a P11, Matt Harmon in 12th, Benito Chavez in P13, Alex Goff in 14th, Tyler Ruielas in P15, Brad Kress in 16th, 17th place was David Feet, 18th was Michael Seymour, and then Hazlitt and Parker did not take the race start, so they show down 120 laps. But I tell you what, I like dirt track racing. Triple bypass. Can we get a dedicated dirt race on? I don't even know what night of the week we could run it, but I would be more than happy to race part of that, because that was a good run, I tell you.
Yeah, it was great to watch, great to have dirt racing. I don't know if it would work every week or week. I know you'd enjoy it, but I don't know if everyone would enjoy it week in, week out. What I do enjoy, though, is the fact that it comes in now and again. It will be back again later on in the SRX series here this season when we get to the end of July. You have to wait a little bit of time, I suppose. But Eldora coming up on the 30th of July. That'll be a night dirt race for 100 laps. In between times, though, there's so much to offer. There's the short tracks of New Hampshire, the road courses of Watkins Glen, some slightly bigger places like Chicagoland, etc. still to come. So really looking forward to seeing what the rest of the season has to offer, because as we talked about earlier on, such variety of circuits in this series.
It's so amazing to watch, and I absolutely love it. But I tell you what, let's hear from Ben Harcombe really quick. Let's talk to him about his dirt experience, how he feels in the SRXs, and just overall how things are going. So, Ben, how are you after a win at Dirt Bristol?
That was amazing. I'm honestly out of breath and sweating a little bit.
How much dirt car experience do you have? Because you were looking at lap times, there was a leap and bound difference between you and some of the other cars. So what was it? How much dirt experience do you have on iRacing to begin with?
Probably a good amount. I did a lot of dirt officials before joining the league, so.
So, how did you give anyone any tips, or did you keep all the secrets to yourself?
I gave a little bit of secrets.
Okay, so SRXs, of course, this is the newest car in iRacing. We're running it on Dirt Bristol. We've ran this car at road courses, ovals, all sorts of places. Looking at how the car handles on dirt, how do you feel about it?
It's very, very slick. You gotta hold a pretty wheel and make sure you don't spin out.
Awesome. And then looking forward, Ben, what What's the plan moving forward for the SRXs for you? How many more wins are we expecting?
Hopefully at least 2 more. Gonna go for the championship, maybe.
All right. And anyone you want to thank? Anyone you want to shout out before I let you go, real quick, Ben?
Shout out to everybody at TBP. Shout out to you for sponsoring tonight's race and for putting on the broadcast.
Awesome. And thank you, Ben. And we'll see you next time, okay?
Alrighty, take care.
All right. A man of not many words usually, so I'm not surprised to see that. Let's see if we could we'll grab Terry Brooks here and see how Terry feels. Oh, and it looks like we lost Terry possibly. Let's see if we can find him. There we go. And Terry, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir.
How was that race for you?
Heartbreaking with the spin. Love the track. Traffic was very difficult. I didn't give tire management enough consideration early in the run, so I had to really start saving tire. Overheated the right rear, but good group of guys to race with. Everybody gave you plenty of room, and we made it. I think it was 62 laps into the run before we had our first need to have a caution.
Yeah, so it's always interesting to see the run go so long, but one of the things that I think has surprised me with everything is just the vastness of the skill level on dirt. We don't typically see that in the other series, especially on just traditional oval NASCAR. The Gen 4 Cup or the Xfinity are the ones I really think of, but it seems like this dirt track has really mixed things up a bit. Do you have a lot of dirt track experience, Terry?
I do. I've ran pretty much through the whole dirt series on the game, and I really enjoyed dirt tracks in any car but the Gen 4. It's just a horrible car for it, but I've done trucks and Xfinity cars at places like Eldora. I've done one at Knoxville. Race is good. And this car really has a good dirt presence. So it was a lot of fun to drive.
What is the biggest thing that people do wrong on dirt track racing? I'm going to ask your opinion since you've got so much experience. A lot of drivers, I know I heard early in the session, during the practice session, were saying, I haven't driven dirt. I don't have a lot of experience. What's the number one thing that people do wrong or assume incorrectly about dirt track racing and cars?
The biggest thing people make mistakes on is they overbrake. They approach the corner the same as they would at an asphalt car, and you can't go that deep because you're going to push. You have to have a slight trail brake, and then you have to go straight into a slight throttle response to hold the pitch of the car. And the biggest problem is people get too much into gas and come back out to gas and too much back into gas, and they can't get the car to just stabilize. For a good part of the run, if I didn't mess up, I could start the car into the corner. I was already out of the gas, dragged the brake a little bit because the track had started to dry out. Eighth throttle, and I didn't have to move the wheel. The car would just carry itself around the corner. And then you would roll into the throttle up off the corner. And if you're playing with the gas, the way dirt cars work, you're just over rotating that right rear, and it breaks it free, then tries to grip up, breaks it free, makes the car really hard to control.
Absolutely. And it's very awesome to me to watch and kind of see the difference in drivers that, have really ran the dirt and get that. And then the ones, you can tell the difference in the driving style. So, but Terry, before I let you go, anyone you want to thank, anyone you want to shout out?
Thank Triple ByPass. Thank y'all for putting on the broadcast. Westlake Royal Building Products on our car, and just the whole group. Enjoyed running with them. I hadn't got to run with them in quite a while, and hoping to kind of make a stay here on Tuesday nights for the remainder of the season.
Absolutely, and we look forward to seeing how the Tuesday nights go for you, Terry. So thank you for your time, and congrats on your P2.
Thank you very much.
All right, and then do we have time to pull in Mr. Matt Parasini, the Parasini Pirouette, in P3? Let's see where he's hiding around at. All right, Mr. Parasini Pirouette. There was not a lot of pirouettes today, but there was a P3. So, how you feeling after 120 laps of the Bristol Boss Baby?
Just pissed off.
Oh no!
Yeah, I'm not happy because drivers, if they're going to run dirt, you got to learn how to do a proper slide job without stopping in front of the car you're trying to pass, because that happened to me on lap 4, and I got into the back of the guy that did it, and it knocked the toe out of the car, and that's why I fell like a rock, because the toe was out for almost 70 laps.
Man. If I got to say, if that didn't happen, do you think that you would have won this race?
No, I don't think I had anything for Ben. Probably where I finished is probably where I would have ended up, I think. The track, for whatever reason, from practice to the race, I found the bottom line went away a lot faster than it did in practice. And I just could not, after the toe got knocked out of it, I could not get the bottom line to work anymore. And then when the caution came out, I went in and got my fast repair to get it fixed. And by that time, the track was so dried out, like you were just basically babying it and pedaling it. And kudos to those guys that could run in the slick with that car. I don't know if I just burned the right rear off or the tires got hurt because of the toe being out or whatever, but after about 10-15 laps after we took the green again, I couldn't keep up. I was basically wrecking almost every lap.
I mean, you say you were wrecking every lap, but you seem pretty smooth from what we could see up in the booth. You look comfortable, so you have a lot of dirt experience, I'm guessing, and it really showed. You seemed, even with the toe knocked out, you seemed like you could hold the car together and keep it smooth.
Yeah, back 20 years ago, I used to race a super stock on dirt for 7 years, so I have a little real world experience. So,
how does that translate over into iRacing?
To this car, not worth a damn. I'll be honest. I definitely find that the street stock, the dirt street stock, and the I would even say the NASCAR truck to a degree, definitely translate over a lot better, because I can run those kind of like I did my old street stock. This car, they don't have a setup for Bristol dirt, so we just used the Eldora setup, and I think the Eldora setup was just a little too loose, and you could not get the rear tires planted to the ground, and that made it really hard to drive it. I mean, probably the biggest real world, if you want to talk about overlap on the whole thing, I would say is that, if you guys were noticing that how smooth and everything I was to the corner, that's probably more where that comes from.
Yeah, it was very noticeable, especially watching the replay here. It's very noticeable just how smooth you're holding the car and going through. But Matt, before we wrap this broadcast up, anyone you want to thank, anyone you want to shout out?
Just thanks to the league guys again, and for you guys doing the broadcast, especially you, Bradley, for sponsoring the race. Really appreciate that, and we'll go get them here in a couple weeks and see if we can pull out a W. So.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. So appreciate your time. Congrats on the P3, even if it wasn't exactly what you wanted, and we'll see you next time on the track, okay?
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Bradley. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. See you. All right, Ewan. So Matt wasn't very happy. However, everyone else seemed pretty okay. So I think overall it's been a net win for Bristol.
Yeah, I think it's been a win for everyone. I mean, I think Matt was mostly disappointed with driving around him rather than actually the event itself. He was maybe a little bit aggrieved about some slide jobs by the sound of it or whatever, but it's part of the hustle and bustle of dirt track racing, I suppose, and it's all part of the show, all part of the interest. And to be honest, I don't really know which incidents in specific he's actually referring to, but I'm sure he does have a case, and feels slightly aggrieved by that. But it will be quite a while, as we say, until dirt racing returns. But as you say, I think it's been a success. I thoroughly enjoyed it, I've got to say. Commentating on one of, if not my very first dirt race indeed, and watching one of my very first as well. So that's been very fun. But time to go back to the asphalt in 2 weeks' time after an off week next time round. We go to New Hampshire for 95 laps next up.
Yeah, New Hampshire is going to be a good track for these cars, and everything is always fun, but I think that's where we're going to sign things off until a few weeks out. And on behalf of Mr. O'Leary himself, my name is Bradley. We've taken you from start to finish here on the JP Broadcasting Network. Be sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the things to support us here if you like what you see today, and we will bring you the next broadcast the next time out. Good night.